Real quick, guys, before we get started, Nyko sent this out to me. It's not a sponsored video or anything, but they did provide me with the unit free of charge. I just want to make you guys aware of that. Now, it's no secret that I've kind of beaten up the Nintendo Switch app. I don't really think it's a good idea. I think a lot of people share that opinion, but companies now that make accessories for the Switch are starting to come up with ways to make it, I guess, more convenient for where your phone can sit. In this case, Nyko must have already been developing a charge grip, saw what was going on with the phone app, and decided to add a clip to it as well. I took a look at the Nyko charge grip. I know some other reviews have come out already for it a little while ago, so I'm a little late to the party here. But I also wanted to take it apart and look inside, because while it's similar in size to something like the official Nintendo charge grip, this actually has a battery inside, whereas the Nintendo one does not, and this one's $5 cheaper. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look inside as well. So let's take a look at the Nyko Switch charge grip. Now, real quickly, taking a look around it, I did notice that at the top they have a USB Type A connector and then a micro USB for charging. So you would plug this in to charge it through micro USB. It does come with one of those cables as well, which is good. Obviously, you need the cable. On the front, you can actually see a little compartment, which is pretty cool because that has a spot for your Switch games that you can slot in and then close back up. I guess if you're traveling and you're looking for a good place to put them and you don't have a good travel case, this would work fine. Those game cards can be kind of hard to keep track of sometimes. I understand that. Above that, there's a button that you press and it actually activates the batteries inside, so it will actually charge both your Joy-Cons and your cell phone at the same time. The way that works is at the bottom, there are slots where the Joy-Con connects, similar to, say, your Switch. How, remember, I opened that up and it had a same type of little board in there that would charge the Joy-Con and even connect it in this case. The official Nintendo charge grip also has those, but that's more for a pass-through to charge the Joy-Cons. Now, of course, the Joy-Cons have a pretty sizable battery life. I think even with serious use with motion controls and everything, those still get 15 hours of life. Of course, they are quoted up to 20 hours when you're just using them normally, but with the addition of ARMS, for example, and Splatoon 2 using motion controls, I could see how those battery lives would shrink. Now, on the back, they have the phone clip kind of gripped onto the back, and it's a good place to store it. They have notches set out so that you can basically pop it right on the back if you're not even going to use it. Really, when you get this, you don't have to use it for a phone, for example. This can just be a good replacement or a good addition to your Switch accessory lineup if you don't have a Nintendo charge grip and you wanted something that can also charge your Joy-Cons. But after you remove the grip from the back and you slide it into the top, it is slotted so it will click into place, and at that point you can set your phone in. The one thing I don't like about these type of grips is my phone in particular has side-mounted buttons, and when I put them in, it kept toggling volume up and down. Of course, above that is my sleep-wake button, so if I go the other direction, the phone will probably just turn itself off and then I can't talk on the Nintendo app. However, if yours does not have that, which I think most do have that, so I'm not really sure how you'd avoid that. If you do have that, I figured I had to slide my phone down a little more to the left so that there were no buttons in the way, and it still gripped it because it's using a very sticky type of like rubberized texture at the top and bottom. And even if I shook it around with my phone kind of offset, it didn't go anywhere. So really, I'm okay with how it is. It's just a little odd looking to have it off to the side. Now, this is one of the biggest problems right now. The phone app does not have a landscape mode. And while you can kind of still see it, because remember when there's voice chat, bubbles are just kind of floating around, it's a little weird. It's very, very kind of unsettling almost to have it in that mode, and then you kind of maybe you have to turn the controller sideways to take a look at it. It's just odd. I know that's something that can be fixed in a software update, which I would expect Nintendo to fix that, along with, of course, no talking when the screen is off. So that's something I don't want to harp on too much. I do think that'll be taken care of in the future. Something else I didn't really like about this charge grip is that it's all plastic. We've talked about the other ones where they have metal railings that go down the side and the Joy-Cons will slide in much better there and they'll click in better. One thing I noticed is when you put the actual Joy-Cons in, it has this weird kind of friction to it, so it feels a little odd pushing it down. And then, with a little bit of force, you can push it directly out of there. In fact, I was able to push it out just by pushing up a little too hard on the joysticks. Now, you'll probably become mindful of that and it won't be an issue. In fact, you do have to push rather firmly to get them out. It was just something I noticed that was a little, again, off-putting. It's very odd that really there's any locking mechanism at all, since you can pretty much just pop them right out without even pushing the unlock button on the top. And that's mostly just because of the plastic, which will bend and kind of flex if you just push on them. Now, next I really wanted to get into the charge grip. I wanted to take a look inside because there were some things I noticed with other reviewers. Things like it was heavier. And of course it's going to be heavier mostly because there's a battery inside. But it was a little odd to me that it's heavier kind of and weighted almost. So I was trying to figure out why that is, and I was like, well, maybe they have one battery in the middle, or maybe they have weights on the sides. So at this point, let's take it apart and take a look what's going on in there. Couple Phillips head screws keep the back on, and then of course underneath of that compartment lid, there are more Phillips head screws under there as well. And then we start to get into it, and it comes apart, and I notice something. There are two batteries in here, kind of wired in parallel, to give you, according to this, two 1500 milliamp hour batteries, which should come together for 3000 milliamp hours. That was another problem I had, and I was a little concerned. How big could the battery actually be in this thing if it's going to be charging both Joy-Cons and your phone at the same time? I was hoping it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 3000 milliamps, and it appears to be. I also really like the placement of the batteries because it's balanced. They have one in each handle, and that's great because, of course, it's weighted more, but I think it feels better in the hands because of this. And it all wires up to the board at the top, which then disperses power to the Joy-Cons or to the USB Type-A, and then, of course, pulls power in to that micro USB. Overall, inside, this thing's actually built pretty well. I have to say, this grip isn't bad. It's $5 cheaper than the Nintendo grip. It's built, obviously the quality is not as good as the Nintendo grip because it's using all plastic rather than metal railings, but you have to save money somewhere. They've added a battery, for example, a phone clip, and a compartment for your games. Really, the functionality with this trounces the Nintendo one. I'm actually very surprised here with some of these third-party accessories coming out of Nyko, and now I'm really interested to take a look at the dock, for example, just see what's going on there and see how their quality stacks up in that case with a cheaper accessory there as well. It's interesting. Is this worth $25? If you want a way to charge your Joy-Con, maybe hold your phone and charge your phone at the same time, yeah, I mean, this thing, believe it or not, would charge the Switch even. I plugged it into the Switch and it charged the Switch and the Joy-Cons at the same time. Will it charge it quickly? No. Will it charge it much? Probably not. The battery in the Switch is much larger, larger by about 1000 milliamp hours or so, maybe a little more, than the battery in here. Really, overall, you just have to ask yourself, do I need a way to charge my Joy-Cons away from the Switch? Do I play enough to where the Joy-Cons drain and then I need to charge them? If so, yeah, this is worth it. I mean, it is. Or maybe you do like the ability to hold your phone right there in front of you and charge your phone at the same time from this battery. Some people may just use it just to keep their phones charged while they're playing, and that's fine too, because when I did a test, I kept my phone plugged into the wall, and I can see how everything would run right here, so you would technically have a wireless solution. But that's it for the Nyko Switch Charge Grip. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, subscribe for more reviews, and check out the link in the description if you're interested. I put an Amazon link down there. It's all Prime shipped and everything. But that's it for now, guys. I will see you next time.